Okay, let's let everyone in.
Okay. Just
Admit. Admit. Hello, guys. Thank you so much for coming. We'll wait a couple of minutes. Let's wait for some people. They're joining in. We'll start in 2 to 3 minutes. So let's just wait. Okay, I think we have a good amount of members. So Ayako, why don't we start?
okay, sounds good.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining Nightcrawlers Volume 3. Me and Ayako really appreciate you guys take the time to joining, and I'm pretty sure you guys are going to have amazing questions, and you're going to bring a lot of value into our conversation. Today's guest is Ayako Sasaki. Ayako, if you could please introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you, Angel. So thank you for having me here tonight. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I'm very happy to be here. So again, my name is Ayako Sasaki, and I co-founded a company called Nico Hachi a year ago. And we provide English education services and intercultural communication training, as well as business consulting to individuals and companies. And before setting up Nico Hachi, I was working for myself for a year and a half, teaching English to business people and working as a recruiter at a company and so on. And I worked for 2 companies for a total of 13 years,
Wow.
teaching English, hiring and training teachers, eventually working as HR manager at a global logistics company. So that's what I've been doing.
All right, awesome, Ayako. So you have a lot of amazing experience. We're very excited to listen to your story. And for everyone who is new to Nightcrawlers, the first thing that we do is we introduce a quote. This quote was chosen by Ayako, and this quote will dictate the theme, the mood, the atmosphere of this event. So Ayako, can you please tell us about your quote?
My quote, okay, so that is, don't limit yourself. So should I read the whole thing?
Sure.
Yeah, don't limit yourself. Many people limit themselves to what they think they can do. You can go as far as your mind lets you. What you believe, remember, you can achieve. That's my
love
quote.
it. I love that. So Ayako, what do you mean by don't limit yourself? What does that mean?
Because I used to limit myself, I think. Like, like, oh, I cannot do this. It's not possible for me to do it. Like starting a business too. I didn't think I was able to leave a company and start my own thing. But yeah, just if you put your mind to it, it is another quote that I like. But if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. So once you want to do something, just try it and you can actually do it. So that's what I like about this quote.
Definitely. I really like that. And so basically you said that before you used to limit yourself, but now you have your own company, you're very successul, you have a lot of experience.
I'm not sure. Not successful yet, but in the middle.
Well, you have good success, and you have many great clients. So I want to ask you, how did you stop to limit yourself? How did that happen?
Oh, good question. I wonder why, but I think you have to go from a small step. Yeah, so start small. So, for example, this might not be a very good story to share, but anyway, do you know a TOEIC test? TOEIC
Yes,
test.
I do.
Yeah, that perfect score is 990. And I wanted to get the perfect score because I was teaching English to business people. And I thought, okay,
Right.
I want to do this. Then at first I thought like, oh, maybe I cannot do this. But then I tried again and again. And then I think I took like 6 times and I finally got it. Like, yay. So like that kind of small thing. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It might be a big thing to some people, but
Definitely.
I thought, oh, but in the beginning, I thought I can't do this, but I did it. So like, yes. And then after that, I tried a new thing. I went to a business school. I got an MBA, and I also
Right.
that thing I didn't think I was able to go to a business school, take care of my children and work full time. I just couldn't do them all. But then like, okay, I did it. So just little by little, okay, maybe I can do more. And I just stopped limiting myself like that.
I understand. How did you manage that? Being a mother, working full time and studying, because it sounds very difficult.
There are a lot of people do that actually,
Mm-hmm.
but I think if you have a passion for what you do, you can actually do it. If you're doing something you don't want to do or you don't like to do, then you cannot do it. But if you like what you do, then you can actually do it or try to do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Steve Jobs said that. It's kind of
Really?
like, yeah, like being an entrepreneur and, going after something. Like the thing that you need is just liking it, because it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be so difficult. I
Yes,
see. I
yes,
see.
yeah.
So that allowed you to, overcome everything and achieve those
Yeah,
things.
just looking back what I have done, maybe those
Right,
small
right.
steps made me think, oh, maybe I can do something bigger now.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And how do you think, what is like the main way people limit themselves?
Name ways.
Like, for example, a common, you know, theme that people use,
Mhm.
maybe like they like tell excuses to themselves or something like that. What is the normal way that people limit themselves?
Oh, I wonder what that is. But maybe like I don't have time, or I don't have
Mm,
enough skills or experience, ability. But that's not true, right? Like
mm-hmm,
you start from there. Like, okay, I want to
mm-hmm,
do this. What do I need? And then
right.
you prepare, you
Mm-hmm,
study. So yeah, so your mind, like, oh, I don't have time, or I don't have enough experience or
ah,
skills. I think that's kind of stop people
mm-hmm,
from doing something, yeah, something big or something what they want to
right.
do.
Do you think they do that out of fear? Why is that?
Out of fear. Fear is maybe one thing too, and you don't want to fail either. Like I don't want to
Mm,
fail either. But yeah, but again, like if you start small,
mm-hmm.
then maybe you don't have to be afraid of failure so much. So yeah, it's just going back to your question.
Mm-hmm.
What's it again? Can you say it again? Sorry.
Yeah, like what is the reason that people limit themselves? Like, is it
Oh yeah.
fear?
Uh-huh.
Right,
Yeah, so fear of failure. That could be
definitely.
it.
We're gonna introduce Nightcrawlers and about the group soon.
Mhm.
But before that, I want to follow up on something that you said. You said that many people limit themselves because of fear of failure.
Mhm.
And in my years in Japan, I have noticed that failure is taken very differently in a Japanese work environment or in a
Okay.
more international work environment.
Mhm.
What do you think?
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. I've never actually thought about it,
Okay.
but maybe in Japan, people care or worry about what others think more than maybe
Mm,
people in a different country. I
right.
don't know. lived in America. So compared to people in
Right.
America, for example,
Right.
maybe we worry more about other people. So when I fail, or when you fail, instead of worrying about what you have done, what you have failed, more like, okay, what do others think? Like you feel embarrassed, and then that you have the actually at school too. Like you don't want to embarrass yourself. Like, okay, I don't want to say a wrong answer. In a classroom setting, you are supposed to raise hand and say right answer. Like that's kind of like an expectation from the classroom
Right.
and teachers. It's been like
Right.
that. So I
Okay.
guess maybe that might be something to do with it. Yeah, worry about what others think, and you don't want to be wrong.
Exactly. And let me ask you something, because I didn't go to school in Japan. I'm not really familiar. But what happens if in a Japanese classroom, the teacher asks a question, and then I raise my hand, and the answer is completely wrong? Like what happens?
It depends on the classroom, of course, and
Okay.
depends on the teacher, maybe.
Right.
But more like there's one right answer prepared, like
Right.
that. So if you didn't say what the teacher has prepared, for example, then you are wrong. That kind of environment. And I don't say it applies to all the classrooms.
Right.
And it's
Right. Right.
changing. Education is changing too. So it's less like that compared to when I was a child. The current classroom may be a little bit different, but still, in Japan, yeah, people are more like, okay, there's one right answer, and then we want to find out. Whereas like America, as long as I know, there, you're okay to be you. Everybody's different, so you can have different opinion from others. So you're more free. That's how I see. Yeah.
Right. And do you think this attitude towards failure, like how does it translate to the workplace? Like for example, if I have a project and I put my heart and soul into it, I work really hard, and then the project fails.
Broken
What what would be like the common attitude towards that failure?
You mean like yourself or others?
Others.
Others.
Yeah.
Like he failed or she failed, and uh, uh I don't know. Again, it depends on the person. But
Right.
yeah, but I don't know. People don't want to stand out either. So when somebody stands out, like, oh, that guy, yeah, failed or successful, maybe, both being successful or being failed.
Right. Right.
Like they stand out and people talk about it more. And yeah, I don't know how to explain that. Well, maybe other Japanese people here attending tonight can explain better. But yeah, so I think they stand out more, like because people talk about that person in a way.
Exactly. No, Yako, thank you so much. That was a
Yeah.
perfect answer. And basically, guys, I want to talk a little bit about Nightcrawlers and introduce about our community. Nightcrawlers is an online community, and we are mainly professionals in Japan. And we have 4 goals. Number 1 is we want to humanize entrepreneurs. I believe that if we want to create a society where people, work hard to achieve their dreams, they need some sort of mentor. They need some sort of figure to like look at, they get inspired, and then they go and achieve their dreams. I think entrepreneurs, it's important to humanize them. Like, if I work hard, I do my best, that's something that I will achieve. Number 2 is we want to create the go-to place for professionals in Japan, the go-to community. Number 3, we want to gather all the information regarding entrepreneurship, business, cultural communication here in Japan in one place. Of course, you can go to school and you can get an MBA and a bachelor's degree on business, but learning from other people's experience is extremely important. And we want to provide that to the community for free, all free. And number 4 is we want to push the human race forward by creating people who think differently. There is a saying, and this is the last thing. In Japan, there's a saying that says, the nail that sticks up gets hammered down. So I want Nightcrawlers to be all those nails standing up are the ones that will change the world and make a better society. So that's it for Nightcrawlers. And Ayako, let's go to the first question.
Okay.
I want to start the event by asking you about, your perspective as a Japanese professional.
Mm-hmm.
How can foreigners, especially foreign entrepreneurs, succeed in Japan?
How can foreign?
Yes. How can we succeed in Japan? I think she froze.
Yeah, it looks like that.
Let's just wait a little bit. She just messaged me. She's coming back right now. All right, guys. So while we wait for Ayako, I just want to let you know that in the last 15 to 20 minutes, we will. Oh, I think she's back.
I'm sorry. I
It's
dropped
okay.
myself. I'm sorry. I'm back.
No worries. I was just explaining everyone that in the last 15 to 20 minutes,
Mhm.
we are going to have a Q&A session with Ayako. So while you
Okay.
guys, listen to Ayako, please think of some questions or something you want to ask her at the end of the session. All right, Ayako?
Right. Thank you very much. Sorry,
No
but
problem.
yeah. So how can foreigners, entrepreneurs, for especially foreigners, succeed in Japan?
Yes, please.
I thought about the question, but actually, whether you're a foreigner or Japanese, maybe I would say the same thing.
Mhm.
And then, first of all, I want to mention maybe 4 things. One is that do what you love, and what you can do, and money will come after.
Mm.
So first of all, I think you should do what you love. Yeah, especially if you start your own business.
Mhm.
And the second thing is that maybe easy to say, but adapt to the culture. So, and do
Mm.
not deny or tell what to do to people. Just listen to them and listen to what they want to do. Have a good communication with your customers, coworkers, or just whoever you collaborate with.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then, of course, network. Yeah, you want to build your network and get to know people, and you may be able to help them or they may be able to help you.
Mhm.
That's very important. And Japanese language skills. yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
always a plus. You don't have to speak perfect Japanese, but if
Right.
you know some language, um, yeah, they'll think you're friendly, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, so definitely if you want to sell your service to Japanese people or you want to work with
Mm-hmm.
Japanese, then it's better to know some Japanese thing.
Right.
Those four things I came up with. I thought it could
Right.
apply to non, um, I mean, you know, to anybody.
Definitely. Definitely. And let me ask you something. Because you worked as an English teacher for many years. You also worked in was it a trading company?
Logistics company.
A logistics company. I'm
Yeah.
sorry about that. And then you started your own business. Uh, how was that transition?
You mean from being an English teacher to working for a different company and then now the
Yes,
transition?
exactly. Yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah. Because I studied in California for
Okay.
4 years and a half, and I came back. I wanted to use English, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in education, so I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to do something to do with education. And okay,
Right.
why not teach English? And
Right.
I started teaching English, and then, but at the same time, I always wanted to start my own thing. You know, you will have more flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I was just interested in it. And but I didn't think I could do it
Mm-hmm.
just by teaching at a company. Meaning, like I knew only how to teach English,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like I need more skills to start my own thing. Then that's why I decided to move to a different company and not only teaching English, but I wanted to do like a broader areas of education. So that's why I got a job at HR division. So I was an HR at a logistic company. Yeah, and then yeah, I don't know because I only experienced two companies,
Mm-hmm.
but two companies maybe was enough for me to decide. Okay, maybe I will leave the company and do my own thing. And again, like teaching English was the only skills that I could use, I thought. So uh, at first, I wanted to do something else. Like teaching English is okay. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I want to do more. But I can only teach English. And actually, I'm probably good at doing it. So why not starting from there? And I did it. And now, yeah, after leaving the logistics company, I was working for myself, right, for a year and a half. And then I set up a company with my business partner. So two stages after leaving the company. And now I feel very different.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, working for myself was easier at the same time. Uh, you feel lonely too.
Mm.
Like I don't know, you do your own thing too, but
Right.
I wanted to have someone that I can talk to, that I
Mm-hmm.
can discuss and think together.
Right.
And yeah, so now we have like 4 full-time and then like 10 plus part-time teachers. And
Awesome.
yeah, now we feel like a family, more like a family, you know.
All
So
right.
I don't know if I'm answering your question in the way you wanted me, you know, to say, but
Mm-hmm.
transition
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like that, like oh, okay, um, I just yeah did all that, and yeah, that's where I am right now, and that's it.
Exactly. Um, so, you working as an entrepreneur, doing your own company. What do you think are like the biggest benefits of starting your own company? Because, I feel like many people are a little bit scared,
Mm-hmm.
to start their own thing, definitely scared of failure, as you said before.
Mm-hmm.
But if you overcome that and you start your own company, what would be the benefits people could get from that?
Oh, good question. Let's see. Yeah, one thing that I can say is that you're free. You're free to do anything, but it's scary at the same time because you're free, right? You can do anything. You can fail, you can be successful, but it's all up to you, right? But not only to you, but your decisions and what you do definitely matters. And yeah, you cannot do those by yourself too, so you gotta cooperate with other members. But so freedom you will
Freedom.
get. Yeah.
All right. Is there a dark side to that freedom?
Dark side. Dark side.
Like, for example, let me give you an example, if I may. For example, it's great to be your own boss and to plan your own schedule, but at the same time, some people feel that if there's no one behind, like telling them what to do, they can't take action. So, like, in your experience, is there like a dark side to that freedom?
Personally, I don't see any dark side, but it's definitely difficult to manage yourself, your life. Especially, I'm mainly working from home, and nobody's watching what I'm doing. So you got to manage your life, right? Okay, so when do you do this and what's that? And it's not dark side so much, but you could be lazy. But if you have many things to do, you cannot be lazy. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's a dark side, but managing yourself and your life can be very difficult. So that could be a dark side.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And something that I wanted to ask you is, when you work for a big company, you have the credibility of that big company.
Oh yeah.
For example, if I work for Dentsu, people will give me more credibility than if I say, "Oh, I have my own thing." How did you manage that?
Yeah,
Like
makes
creating
sense.
your own brand.
Yeah, that's true. Once you leave a company, you're nobody. You have to start from scratch, and people don't know you, and we still struggle too. We provide English education services, but okay, our service name is Inspired. Oh, what's Inspired English service? Like, people don't know it, so we have to build our brand. We have to be visible somehow here and there, and that's very challenging. You could enjoy it, but at the same time, like, you can be very what's the good word to describe? Yeah, you can be depressed. Yeah,
Right.
because people can tell you, okay, I don't trust you because you're a new company, So it's very difficult to build trust.
Okay. So I guess this will take us back to one of the tips for success that you gave us, which is networking. Why is networking important when building your own business in Japan?
Oh, in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I still work with people that I know for a long time. And those English teachers that I work with, I worked with them for maybe like 10 years, more than 10 years. Yeah, like I know them from the company that I was working as an English teacher. So it's not about networking, but like keep communicating with those people, keep contact with them. And the networking, when you get to know new people, keep contact, you know. And yeah, sometimes I go to a networking event and I meet somebody new, and okay, that person is a professional. Say he's a lawyer, for example, or he's a marketer, he's an English teacher, whoever they are. Then if you keep contact, like, oh, and when you need help, you can contact them. Like, oh, hi, I'm Ayako. I know I met you somewhere, and then you can say, okay, we need help, or yeah. Or it could be the other way around. Like, okay, that person may need help from us, and I could contact them. So yeah, I said network, but networking not only just meeting, you know, randomly, more like meeting someone you need, and then yeah, whenever you meet someone good or someone valuable to you or to your business, but to you, basically, you just keep in touch with them, get to know them, be friendly, and that helps a lot, especially if you're in a country where you're not born. You don't have all the family members and friends you grew up with, but you can rely on those people you keeping in touch.
Okay. So if I understand correctly, what you're saying is all the connections that you make like throughout the years, you have to like nurture them and keep them, and at the same time network with, you know, professionals and unique people that, you know, can help you in the future, and vice versa. You can also provide them with some value or service.
Right. And then you can keep, you know, keep in touch with those professionals too from now on. So it's just same thing for people you know recently, or you met recently, or people you knew from the past. Just, you do the same communication. Just keep in touch.
That is right. That is actually something that Anthony, by the way, hello Anthony. That is something that Anthony told us in the Blink event a couple months ago, which is like, don't burn bridges. Like if you work in a company, you gotta keep those connections, because they might become clients in the future, or they might become collaborators in the future.
Right.
Awesome. Okay, Ayako, thank you. That was a very awesome answer, which will also bring us to our next question. So you said networking, you said studying Japanese culture and the language as well, and you said something about adapting. What do you mean by adapting?
Adapting to culture. Yeah, that's what I said. Yes, that is, yeah, what I mean is that do what the others want to do instead of you pushing what you want to do. Makes sense? So yeah, adapt to the culture. It can be a Japanese culture, can be a company culture. The company you work with. But if you try to change someone, I don't think it works well. Yeah. So what I mean is that adapt to, just listen to the others. Listen to the people you work with. Listen to the people you want to sell service to, and hear what they want to do, and start from there. And that can be understanding Japanese culture too, and Japanese people, because you think, oh, why Japanese think this way? Sometimes, you know, as a foreigner, I don't know, you might be frustrated, like, oh, why Japanese people think this way?
Right.
Yeah, but try to understand them first. Listen to them, be patient. And then after that, maybe if you think you know better, you can show better. Yeah. So does it make sense?
It makes complete sense. So let me give you an example. So, you know, I am from Venezuela. And in Latin America, we are the exact opposite of you know, like people in Japan. Like some people say, no, you know, like American people and Japanese people are the opposite. I'm like, no. Like people from Latin America, we're loud, we like dancing, we move a lot, we're very straightforward, like no tatemae.
Yeah, you told me
So
that.
my question for you is, how can I learn about Japanese culture and adapt without losing my essence?
Hmm. Oh, good question. How can you learn? But you've been here for a while, right?
Not like the question is not about me. It's just for example.
Generally speaking.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you mentioned Venezuela. I just thought about
For example.
you, but I got it. Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
So, how can you learn? Yeah, just you have to communicate with Japanese people, right? And yeah, you can learn it from a book or internet, but still, it's a lot better to actually communicate with them. So yeah, if you have a Japanese friend, you can learn from the person. And if you don't, again, like you can meet some Japanese people at a networking event and talk. So communication, I would say. Yeah.
So speaking about communication,
Mm-hmm.
and I think this event is flowing really well. I know you are a cross-cultural communication specialist.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh, more about intercultural communication.
Right, like what is that cross-cultural communication? What is that?
Oh, yeah, good question. I've never explained that in English,
Okay.
but cross-cultural communication, it's about understanding people and culture, I think. You don't have to accept it because sometimes there are cultures you don't want to accept. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you understand, like you have to know what someone's culture is and just understand, okay, that's his way or her way, understand. And yeah, just that's what I would say. You don't have to accept it, but you have to understand there are ways that are
Exactly.
different from yours.
Exactly. I completely agree with you. It's really important to empathize with someone from a different culture. Um, do you have any tips for cross-cultural communication? Like, for example, if I come from a high context culture and you come from another high context culture, like something like that. Do you have any tips?
I wish there were no tatemae, but
No tatemae.
no, not. But yeah, you said in Venezuela there's no tatemae,
Not
but
at
and
all.
it's difficult sometimes. Yeah, just to express everything. So tips, but still, at least you have to be honest with the person. I think at least I try to do that. I try not to hide what I feel or think, but still be polite. And yeah, so be honest, communicate with the person in front of you, and simple. That's it, I think.
All right. I like that.
Yeah, because if you open up, the other person can open up to you. But if you try to hide something, yeah, then the someone who communicate with you cannot open up, I think. So you start from your side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say I am the first foreign worker in a Japanese company. What can I do to like successfully adapt there? Like, let's say, yeah, I speak Japanese. I know like the cultural norms and everything. Like I speak Keigo and all that stuff. Do you have any like tips for people who want to work in Japanese companies and climb that ladder of success?
In a Japanese company?
In a Japanese company first, yeah.
Actually, if you are only a foreign person there in the office, people's gonna like you a lot.
Oh.
I think so. Yeah, Japanese people, I don't know, we like foreign cultures and
Mm-hmm.
always interested in it and want to speak English too, or another or different languages. So yeah, if you're the only one, I think people will like you. But at the same time, like, climbing the ladder thing, that may be a little bit different. And because yeah, I said I worked at two companies. One
Mm-hmm.
company, Japanese people were dominant, meaning they had a lot of foreign workers, but for the management side, most of the people were Japanese. But the other company that I work at, management was like foreigners. So I don't know if I'm answering your question precisely, but if you want to, climb the ladder, meaning like to have better career in a company, then you might want to work for a company with foreign management.
Right.
Yeah, does
All
it
right.
make sense?
No, it makes complete sense. So that would be a Japanese company. What if, I want to start my own company? I have my idea, I have everything. Now I have to go out there and get some customers. My customers are Japanese. And I asked something similar to Anthony a couple weeks ago, is how can I create that connection with my Japanese customer?
Yes, very good question. But I think Japanese language helps a lot, right? If you start your own thing and do business, if you don't know Japanese, at least you have to have a business partner who speaks Japanese.
Right.
And yeah, language is very powerful. It's very important. And yeah, so I would say yes, the person needs Japanese skills somehow and go from there. Yeah. But again, all those honest communication, your Japanese doesn't have to be perfect.
Okay.
But just try to be for that person, for your customers. Like, okay,
Exactly.
I'm here to help you. Like, I want to help you. That kind of attitude. Yeah, you will feel it. So I think it matters a lot.
I love that. I love that. Like basically like be of service to that person.
Yeah. But I'm just talking about one-on-one communication. But if you try to reach many customers, maybe a different story. Like, yeah, your website, for example, or your network and other things matter too. But yeah, still, how you communicate with your customers, very important. It's very important.
Okay.
So
Definitely.
you have to show that, oh, I'm here to help you.
I love that. I love that. All right, Ayako, those answers were beautiful. I think you did an amazing job. Like batting all the balls that I threw you. That was perfect. Guys, we're almost at the Q&A section. We're almost there. But before we, open the forum and you guys can ask questions to Ayako. Ayako, I want to ask you about the song.
A song.
So guys, if you don't know, in Nightcrawlers, we usually ask our guests to provide us with a quote with their favorite song or the song that really inspired them in the past. And number 3 is the change that they want to see in the world. So Ayako, can you tell us about the song?
Okay, song. I'm a bit shy to talk about the song. But anyway,
Okay,
I chose a
it.
Japanese song called Uta Utai no Barato by some singer called Saito Kazuyoshi. And I don't know if any of you know this person or this song, but I like it and I chose it because the song is about passion, curiosity, and love. And passion and curiosity, like those are something that put me in a position to try new things. Yeah, because of my curiosity, like I want to see more, I want to try more. And I feel that from the song. And also love is something you need to have. You have to love what you do, and you have to like, it's good to love people you work with. So I don't know, that's why I chose this song. I felt those three elements from the song.
Okay, so you talked about curiosity. Do you think it's important for us to have curiosity?
I think it's good to have curiosity.
Okay.
And because you want to know more, right? And if you, let's say, okay, I don't need to know anymore, then you stop there. But if you want to know more, you study, you learn, you experience, and you can not limit, you can go beyond your limit.
So, and become limitless, right?
Right.
Awesome. And Ayako, the change that you want to see in the world?
That one I chose simplicity, being simple, because things are too complicated in this world, and we have so many choices and options, and having too many choices makes decisions harder. So I feel that people have less stress if things are more simple.
All right. Do you have any like tips on how to make our lives more simple, or to minimize stress? Do you have any tips or advice?
I want to know the tip too, but I try not to have many options. Yeah, just follow what I love or what I want to do.
Okay.
And
follow your heart.
Yeah, follow your heart. Just simple, but you have to care about, care about of course many things, like people around you and so on. But still, if you follow your heart, things will be simple, I think.
All right. I love it, Ayako. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And the last question before we start the Q&A session is, can you tell us a little bit about your business and how can our audience contact you?
Thank you for asking that. So, again, our company is called Nico Hachi, and we provide English education services, and our service name is called Inspired. And Inspired is an online English learning service, and we provide students with lessons, and they can do at their convenient time using their smartphones and PCs, basically whenever and wherever they are. And we are always looking for English teachers, and we need some help for marketing strategies and technology, like IT as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you are interested in working with us, please contact me. Or you can visit our website, nikohachi.com. It's only available in Japanese, but you can learn a bit more about us there.
All right, Ayako, that's perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for answering my questions. You did a beautiful job, and
I'm glad.
Yes, no, I'm super happy, and I hope our audience can contact you after this, and follow up, do business with you, and just keep contact. All right, guys.
Great.
Now we're gonna go to the Q&A session. So regarding the Q&A session, what we do is first you type your question on the chat. Just write it down, press enter, and then the questions will start to appear. So in that order, I'm going to call the person to please read their question to Ayako, and then Ayako will ask your question. So I'm gonna give you guys a couple of minutes to please write down your question, send it so that we can answer it. And those 2 minutes will start now. Ayako, while they add their questions,
Mhm.
can you please put your link on the chat?
Sure. Sure.
So yeah,
My profile link, or are you saying the company website?
whatever you want to share with
Whatever.
your audience.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
anything is fine.
Sounds good.
Right, guys, one more minute. Again, this is not the only time you can ask a question. Like while Ayako is answering other people's question, you can, type your question and send it. Guys, 10 seconds. Alrighty, Ayako, are you ready?
Yes,
All right.
I'm ready.
Awesome, thank you so much. Let's go to our first question, which is from Holy. Holy, do you want to read your question to Ayako?
Hi, sure. My name is Holly Minami. Thank you so much. My question is, what helps build your confidence as a businesswoman? Were there any big obstacles you encountered being a female entrepreneur in the Japanese market? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your question. Any big obstacles you encountered in India? Well, well. As I talked about my experience earlier, I started small. Yeah, so to build your confidence, I think it's good to start from something small, then make a small success and just repeat that. Then I think you will gradually feel, "Oh, okay, I can do more," and you can build your confidence that way. That's my way. I think that's what I have done. That's what I have done. And female entrepreneur. So I don't know. I'm not doing anything big. Like I knew how to teach English, so I started teaching English. And because I met a great business partner, so we set up a company together. And yeah, I'm not. I don't know. Yeah, because I'm not. I don't know. I'm not the only one setting up the business myself. I'm not worried about being a female entrepreneur so much. Did I answer your questions?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah. So.
All right, Holy,
Okay.
thank you so much. That was a very awesome question. Let's go to Demi. Demi, would you like to ask Ayako your question?
Yeah. Hey, hello, Ayako.
Hi.
You get investments for
Investment. Could you tell me a little more?
did you get investment from a VC or startup?
No.
Or is it bootstrapped?
Yeah, thank you for asking. No, we didn't get any investment from VC or angel investors, just the debt from the bank. so far.
right.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
thanks.
All right, Demi, thank you so much for the question. Let's go to, is it Ansel or Ansel?
Either is fine.
All right.
I actually like the proper pronunciation of your name because
Ayako.
she says Angel as opposed to
okay.
angel.
Yes.
But yes. So I said, wow, okay, very good. And anyway,
Right.
here's my question.
Understood.
How do you justify the price of your services versus the big brands?
Justify the price.
Good question.
Yeah, good question.
Mhm.
How to justify? Let me clarify. Justify meaning like how we decide our price.
No, not how do you decide, but let's say I'm very familiar with Berlitz,
Mm-hmm.
Aeon, GABA, Nova, you name it, I'm very aware of it. So do your customers compare prices? And when they compare prices, how do you say, this is why we charge what we do, this is the value that you receive from us?
Yeah, very good question. Thank you. So I used to work for Aeon, Aeon for 11, 12 years. And yeah, so yeah, I don't have a good answer, I mean, right now, but my experience is based on my experience at Aeon a lot of times. But we added more value to it, like, yeah. So
what is your added value?
Oh, added value is that we use technology more. I don't know, a lot of companies do, but what we do is that, so let me explain, and I hope you can understand. Students use smartphones basically, and we use line chat, and then line chat is only used for the communication. So you get the quiz every day from Monday to Saturday. And then you can set any time you want to set. For example, if you want to receive a quiz at 6 a.m. in the morning, you get it at 6 a.m. every day. And you can change it. And then it helps you build a habit of studying English, because it's going to be your routine. So you get the quiz and you go to the link. You receive a link online, and you go to the link. Then it connects you to the system, like a learning system. Then you study there. After you answer your quiz, you submit it. Then you automatically receive your answer keys. At the same time, you get the feedback from teachers. Like every student has a teacher, personal teacher. And then you get feedback. Sometimes you can pair up with a buddy, like your friend. For example, I want to study with this guy, and let's study together, be in the same line group, and then just encourage each other. Can be yeah, they could compete, you know.
Okay.
Peer pressure. So
Okay.
that's added value that I think.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as I know, those other companies haven't done that yet. So
Very good.
And you have another question, right, regarding the pandemic?
Yeah, but I think somebody. Oh, okay. I guess I am the next. Am I the next question? I want to make sure I'm not.
Yes, you are
Okay.
the next one.
Yeah. So, how has your business fared in the pandemic? And I guess to a certain degree, maybe you've answered the question. What percentage of your business is online?
100%.
Okay. So basically, the pandemic actually didn't affect your business very much.
Business itself, yes, but recruiting people, because we were doing like in-person seminars to recruit new students.
Okay.
So we cannot do that anymore. We only do it online.
Mm.
So we feel like if you communicate with student or prospective students directly, you can get more, or you can
Yes.
be more attached. But since we are only communicating online, the connection is a little bit weak. So
I
in
understand.
that way, it's affecting our business.
Okay,
Yeah.
understand. Okay,
All right.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
I may have an extra question for you, but I know there are other questions, so I'm not going to hog it up.
All right. Thank you so much. That was very awesome. 2 questions. Let's go to the next one, which is, I hope I don't butcher your name, Bodan. Do you want to ask Ayako yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, I want to ask my questions. Hope you can hear me. Yeah, so my first question is, Ayako, how did you transition to be an entrepreneur from working to another company? So first you worked for a different company, now you're an entrepreneur. So how did you transition to it?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your question. Oh, how did the transition from working to another company, working for yourself?
Yeah, because there are people who prefer to work for other companies but want to try to be a solo worker, to work for themselves.
True.
What advice do you have for them?
So, yeah, actually, I went to a business school called Globis. I don't know if any of you know Globis University. And yeah, that's where I got an MBA. And in there, you have to take a course or take a class called ENL. I don't know the class name in English at this moment. I cannot remember. But anyway, I took one class, and in that class, you have to think about like what you want to do after graduation, or like but basically that's it. Like what you are going to do in your career. Then at the time I was working for a logistics company, and I had a struggle there in the beginning because cross-cultural communication mattered too. Like it was a very difficult situation, and I thought like, I wanted to change the company office culture there, but I thought it would take years to change, and I wasn't patient enough to wait many years. And then I thought, maybe I should leave the company. Then I started thinking about what I want to do after graduation. Then in that class, I had to prepare my presentation. Like, okay, what do you want to do for yourself, to the society? And there I decided that I will leave the company and I will work for myself and just provide education, and then start from English service. So that class actually helped me transit from helped me move from a company to work for myself.
Yeah, that answers the questions. Thank you.
Yeah.
And here goes another one. So another one is about working remotely in Japan. How popular is remote work in Japan? And if somebody wants to work remotely, what does he need to keep in mind? What can you tell to those kind of people?
Yeah, I think it's getting popular in Japan too. A lot of people that I know also work remotely as well, but it tend to be like rather big companies or companies in specific industry, for example, medical industry, IT, and so on. And there are still a lot of companies don't allow people to work from home. So it's getting popular, but compared to other Western companies, maybe less popular here in Japan. And tips, and then Japanese houses. I don't know. Just if I compare to the houses here to the ones in America, for example, we live in the smaller houses, and that makes it difficult for someone to have office at home. So sometimes it's difficult to work from home if you have children running around and then just being with family members all the time. So that's 2 things that I can mention. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, that's answer it. Okay. And I've got the third question. Can I ask it, or I didn't write it in the chat? Yeah, to be honest.
Go ahead.
I just made it up. Yeah. So.
All right.
Yeah, if I can, so my question is, how popular is English in Japan? So you are teaching English. So how many people are interested in learning English? And how
Oh,
many
how
people
many
can speak
people?
English?
How many people? I don't have the number right now. I did some research a few months ago, and I wonder what the number it was. But yeah,
This might be a relative number. Yeah, you don't need to be exact.
Yeah. Do you know? Does anyone know? 8?
I don't
No,
know.
but in the world, I heard like 1 out of 4. I guess 1 out of 4 people speaks English. So yeah, that's the number that I remember. And in Japan, of course, business people, a lot of them that I know want to learn English and want to improve their English skills. And starting from this spring, this April, at elementary schools, the English became a subject. So now kids at elementary school, maybe from 3rd grade, they have to study English as a subject. So that's pushing, yeah, Japanese people more and more to learn English, I think. So yeah, I cannot tell you the exact number right now, but I think
Yeah, but that's good enough
there's a
answer.
lot of,
And there is still
yeah.
place for your business to grow. Thank
I
you for
think
the
so,
answers.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
you.
thanks everyone.
All right, thank you so much for your question, Bodan. That was very nice, very informative. Let's go to Zach. Zach, do you want to ask your question to Ayako personally?
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, yeah, my question is pretty simple, but I was just curious, like, how did, I know that you mentioned that, doing something you love is really important to be motivated and be successful, but I was just curious, like, how to go about finding what that exactly is? Like, what is it that you love? And I think that's something that I'm personally struggling with. Or other people have probably had the same. If you have any comments, I'd love to hear.
Great. Thank you for asking. How did you figure out what you love to do? Yeah, so again, my answer is simple. Follow your heart. But you, yeah, what's good to say? So I liked English, the language, since when I like English to begin with. Like when I was junior high school student, I already liked English, but I never learned how to speak so much up until I went to California to study. And yeah, so I don't know. I kind of knew what I liked from a younger age, but I didn't think about making it as a profession. Like I liked English, but just I like it, but I didn't know. I wasn't sure if I wanted to teach English. So that's different. But I think if you keep doing what you like to do, it can be something small, meaning you don't have to love to do it. But if you're trying to figure out what you like to do, then maybe find something you like. You don't have to love it, but you like. And then if you keep doing it, you may be, getting good at doing it, and you might like it more and more. So I would say find something you like and keep doing it. You will be good at it, and you will like it more. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that's great. So I kind of start with this. Maybe start small, as you kind of mentioned. Start small, something you like there. So simple is good. So I agree with your philosophy.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Zach. Yeah, Ayako, that was very good advice. And if I may add something real quick, to find something you like, you basically gotta, go out there and experiment. Try different things. That's how you'll find what you like. Just experiment, try different things. Maybe if you're interested in art, try painting or designing. If you like it, you can spend more time with that. It's all about experimenting. Or that's, from my perspective. Let's go to the next question, which is from Demi. Demi, go ahead.
Hello. This is more for you than Ayako.
Okay.
So I'm new to Japan and new to Tokyo, and I came in the middle of Corona, so there's no events, there's no networking, there's nothing. So I tend to have a hard time meeting with people or building connections, because connections take at least a couple meetings or like an hour chat or something, which is hard to do in Zoom meetings. It's easier when it's like a meetup when you're doing it physically. So any advice on how to get how to meet people, hang out, and like network and all that stuff?
Right. What is your purpose for networking? Is it business?
My purpose is, that's a good question. It's to understand what's going on here. So I have no idea about Japanese market, and so I've been to the Valley, I've been to Singapore and lots of other countries, and I met with like the people I know here. They're the people I met years ago in other countries, but I don't know anyone local, and I want someone who can like, I want people who can tell me about the industry and the entrepreneurship here and like show me how things work,
Exactly. Thank you, Demi. That is a very good question. Definitely Corona changed everything. Last year, I used to go to business events on a weekly basis, but now it's impossible. Everything is online because of Corona, obviously. I would say if your purpose is, understanding Japanese culture and business, number one, this community is very good because you can meet people from, many walks of life and people who specialize in the Japanese market. You can learn, about culture, business, many things. There is another community called Blink Connect. They also have events in Tokyo, and they might restart their like real life events, not online. So you can definitely check Blink Connect. Yeah. Actually, one of our guests here, his name is Asama. He runs Blink Connect. You can talk to Asama definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we will be running events. We're still running events online right now, but we will come back very soon. So in venue, and we've been hosting events with 20, 30 people coming here and just networking with each other. So I mean, Axel and also Anthony was one of our event speakers in the past. So if you're interested, then be sure to just contact me later on. Sorry for 2 cents.
No, that was perfect. So yeah, you can definitely contact Asama. Yeah, I mean, if your purpose is business, definitely you gotta provide something of value first before you approach someone. Like for example, if you're a designer and you want to get some new clients, you can offer some free designs. If you're a teacher, you can offer some free lessons. It really depends on your purpose. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Awesome, my pleasure. Let's go to Leon. Leon?
Hey, so I'm half Japanese, and I actually grew up here, but I've had and I speak to many Japanese people as well as foreigners, but this was sort of a generalized question because we have a mixed group of people here, and I noticed that a lot of Japanese people can be quite harsh, or not. I wouldn't maybe say go as far as like hateful, but they have a dislike of foreigners here in Japan just because they don't really seem to understand the culture or the norms or their expectations, and that they can be very discriminatory and xenophobic, meaning that Japanese people are very afraid of foreigners, and can be very prejudiced and have their own sort of thoughts about it. And I'm sure that's true everywhere with everyone, to be honest. We all make these sort of generalizations, but I was curious because at the same time, there's a lot of Japanese people that are very interested in foreigners as well as with communicating and learning about their culture and things like that. But, you know, obviously it's sort of like a 50-50 thing, right? Like you never know what that person's experience was like and stuff with a foreigner. And, but I think, you know, I've met a lot of people that get very disappointed and discouraged because it only takes one or two bad experiences to completely to completely ignore all the many positive and good experiences that they have had, because the negative experiences are so much stronger. And I wanted to ask you a question, especially because you also do work with language and stuff. How can foreigners help sort of change that experience from their side, so that when they do meet someone that is Japanese and they have, you know, they kind of make all these assumptions about that person, how can we help that, you know, how can we kind of like ease the tension, meaning that to sort of like kind of get rid of that as quickly as possible so that the real connection can be made. But also I'm very curious as to you know, how Japanese people can, you know, why it is that Japanese people are this way, and maybe even, you know, what kind of experiences that Japanese people have when they try to communicate with a foreigner that they feel like they're not being understood. So because I think, you know, the communication is a two-way street, and the way that people see things are completely different depending on their perspective. And there's a lot of misunderstandings that happen as well. So do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, thank you very much for your comments and questions. Yeah, I have a lot of friends from different countries that have good experience here, but at the same time bad experiences. And but Japanese language always helps, right? Like you said, Japanese people are kind of afraid of foreigners, and I think that's true. Like 50% thing, I also agree with you. Like the other 50%, like, oh, they don't want to be, you know, they want to avoid because they're afraid that they don't know the language, so they don't know what to do. But if the foreign person can speak some Japanese, I think it's easier to make a connection. Like, oh, even just konnichiwa, for example, or yoroshiku onegai shimasu, that relaxes people. Like, oh, I know this language. And yeah, so I would say those for the people who are afraid of foreigners, Japanese language is always a plus. Like that helps people relax more. What do you think? Well, maybe I mean you think about that already, and
yeah, I mean, you know, I like personally I speak Japanese, so you know, and I grew up here. I've been here for over 20 something years, but this, you know, it's even when I'm speaking with a Japanese person, it's kind of like a hit or miss, you know, meaning that sometimes they think everyone's experience is very different, and their perspective is different as well, because, you know, and I think it has more to do with, you know, it's sort of the same thing with, you know, men and women, for example. Like men might think all women are this way because they have some idea of how women are, and, you know, women might have the same thing. So a lot of this is like kind of story that we create in our heads. But I think the experience that I think especially because of the communication between any kind of foreigner and a Japanese person, there's so much more space for misunderstanding or not being able to communicate in a healthy way. And especially because you teach English, I was curious because I feel like in Japanese school, I didn't go to Japan, I went to international school, but when they teach the language, they only teach the language. They don't actually teach how to communicate, meaning that, you know, communication is, you know, looking at their eyes, you know, reading the facial expression, using the hands and the gestures, you know, knowing the customs and the rules and, you know, things like that. And like, that's not taught at all. like especially in English. There's absolutely no understanding. And I noticed this, that most Japanese people, from my perspective, if they haven't traveled to somewhere like America or any other country and have really tried to really kind of like extend their boundary, meaning like I'm going to really take this challenge and try to learn it by myself, even though it might be difficult. I've noticed that a lot of Japanese people, when they are put in a situation where they have to use the English, because their language capacity is not that good, they quickly lose their confidence, and then that just like sort of destroys their possibility to have a healthy relationship with a foreigner, even if that foreigner is very interested in having a relationship with them. And to me, that seems like a bigger problem than the language, the ability to really communicate. And I was wondering, like, you know, your thoughts on this as a teacher, but also as someone that has traveled around, and you know, what might we be able to do to sort of help change that?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. But then I feel like Japanese has to do more effort, have to make good efforts. So not from the foreigner side, more like Japanese people, Japanese education got to be changed. And not only myself, but in many English schools, I think they try to teach not only English, but you know, culture and gesture, facial expression, and all that. But there are many things they have to learn. So language first, and then expressions, gesture, then culture. So it takes time. But I think definitely me too, like we have to improve on that part as well. And that, like, I cannot expect someone like some foreigner to make more efforts. I feel like we have to do more. So,
yeah, I completely agree. Like, I feel like, you know, you're in Japan, like I think it's totally unreasonable actually to expect the Japanese people to speak a different language. Like, if you're coming into someone's land, you better learn their language, because that's how you show respect. And I noticed that most foreigners don't do that. And it's a huge problem. And I was very shocked, because even at my international school, I was told by the foreigners that I was not allowed to speak Japanese in the school, in the hallway. And I thought that was totally disrespectful to Japan, especially because we're on their land. And it was a very, very famous school. And I completely lost all respect for them, because they were not honoring the fact that Japan, you know, we're in Japan. And if you're coming into a foreign country, you should be making the effort to learn that language if you want to even be here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Both sides, I guess.
Definitely
have to work.
Yeah. Well, they should cooperate, but you know, it's like, you know, I feel like if you're on their land, you should learn. Why it should not be the other way around. The Japanese people, if they want to really learn English, they can travel to an English-speaking country. They shouldn't have to study it here and then have a bad experience or something with an English speaker or something. So I just thought it was, you know, it was very interesting, because when I really thought about it from like a cultural perspective, I was like, well, it should be the opposite way around. And you also said that, you know, how can we change this dynamic? And the first thing you said was that the foreigner should learn Japanese. You know, that should be the first thing that they should try to do, is that they should try to make an effort to kind of, you know, bridge that gap, rather than expecting the Japanese people to do it for them. Yeah.
All right, guys, that is definitely a very good conversation, and I completely agree with you guys. Definitely, it's important. It's all good. It's important to see it from both sides. You know, how can we as foreigners adapt and provide value to Japanese society, and how can, you know, Japanese people help us, you know, adapt. Definitely. I'm sorry, we don't have much time, so let's go to our last question. Just a moment, which is from just a moment, from Sima. Sima, do you want to ask Ayako your question?
Yes. Sorry. So can I just change it just a little bit?
Yeah, that's okay.
Because you answered all. So you went to Globus MBA University. So I'm in Japan right now, and I'm also going to be doing my MBA this year, starting in September. And I want to know, like, what was your main experience at the university? And then, like, so for example, like, what inspired your business mindset? And then the second part, how, as a foreigner, can I approach networking? My Japanese language ability isn't that high, and I want to know, like, how I could, do well in networking with my limited ability. But I think I'm still open to meeting people and, trying my best to get to know people. So do you have any advice for me on that?
Thank you. I'm sorry, I lost maybe the first part. You mentioned that you say you're going to go this, or your friend is going to go from.
Oh, no. So I'm going to a different MBA school,
okay,
but I am
doing
my MBA.
All right, got it. So let me clarify your question. First question is that how the university class shaped my business mindset, and second is that how to network.
Yes.
With Japanese people or with anyone?
Well, in Japan with Japanese people, especially like the business setting, yeah.
Understood. Okay. So, Globus. Well, I don't know how I can explain this well, because I feel like I might have some business mindset to begin with. I don't know. I feel like I haven't changed so much when it comes to like business mindset. Yeah, but Globus helped me learn many different things, like 8 years where I need to prepare, where I need to know when starting a business or when I need to make business in a company, or such. And also like networking, you get to know many people who you take classes together, and those things helped me a lot. But business mindset, that maybe came from a different place, not from the university, more like from my experience in California, for example, or from Eon, the workplace that I worked at. I might have to say that. And but how to be a leader, like a leadership, that kind of thing I learned a lot from MBA school, I think, and just apply it in actual workplace. And then the second question, networking. Anthony might be a better person, or some other people who are in the audience may have the better answer. But I just networking opportunity for me is limited. Meaning I have children. They're still young. I have to take care of them. I cannot go out that often, like every night and every weekend. So that's why maybe I try to keep in touch with the people that I met. And sorry, I'm not answering straight to your question, but there are many chances you can go networking, especially after you go to business school. You get to meet new people, and they have different knowledge, they have different experience. You learn from them and just go from there. So and ask Anthony or some other people about networking, or maybe Asamo-san, if he's still here.
Anthony, or do you have any advice? If you could share something, that would be perfect.
Sure. As far as networking, where to go or how to do it?
Yes, please.
Well, as everyone mentioned, with the coronavirus thing, the networking landscape is totally different. This event is a good start. Definitely follow up with Asama, especially if they're starting events there. And one more idea, and you have to execute this idea very carefully, is LinkedIn. So, reaching out to people on LinkedIn, but in a very strategic way. So if you see someone you want to connect with, send them an invitation, but be sure to attach a message to it. And that message should be very specific about why you want to interact with them. You have to be careful. A lot of messages are going around LinkedIn saying, I want to collaborate, or, you have a nice profile. those are usually salespeople or scammers. So what you have to do is really study up on who you want to meet and say, I read your profile, I looked at your business, I saw that you were an entrepreneur, and I want to know how you started your business. I want to learn about this aspect of your resume. You know, can we do a Zoom or can we do a Skype? That's part of networking, you know, in the COVID age and beyond. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, feel free to follow up with me on LinkedIn. You know, Angel or Asama. A lot of people here will help you out. I'm confident.
Okay, definitely. Thank you.
Sure.
Anthony, maybe you can write down the link to your LinkedIn page. Maybe Sima can connect with you.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I'll write down just, I guess, something that has all my social media profiles. That I do recommend LinkedIn, but yeah, I'll get to work on that for sure.
All right,
Thanks.
thank you so much.
You got
Awesome,
it.
Anthony. Thank you so much. And last, Mr. Akio Fuji, you had some very, very insightful opinions regarding Japanese business culture. Can you please explain it to us?
Yeah, hi everyone.
Hello.
This kind of relates to Leon's perspective that he mentioned just then. But you know, being a Japanese national, I think I can speak for Ayako as well. You know, about Japanese wanting to avoid failures in general. I think it's because of their addiction to quality. They're very quality addicted people, and they seek for perfectionism. And it's important to get rid of their responsibilities associated with possible failures so that you can create a mutual atmosphere to challenge. And that's very important with the Japanese. And unless that environment is properly prepared, there are many cases where a problem is procrastinated. It's just, you know, left alone or even hidden sometimes. And this is very important. You have to make that harmonizing kind of atmosphere to do something together and overcome impediments. Another thing is that Japanese are very allergic to change. And so rather than using the word change or making drastic changes, it's better for them to kind of be able to visualize the lines between the two dots and use the word kaizen or improvement instead. That kind of gets things going, and you can actually move as a team and aim for a mutual goal to accomplish something. So that was one of my 2 cents that I wanted to say. And another thing about a foreigner succeeding in Japan, and I think there are a few milestones that the foreigners need to recognize. And this goes back to the 80s where, I think he's retired now, but there was this famous writer who lived in Japan with his family. His name was James Fallows, and he was the writer for The Atlantic. It was a famous magazine. I think it still exists, but he kept on criticizing Japan. And he didn't really blend into the community. He never spoke our language. And this is where it kind of, relates to Leon's perspective. But you have to enjoy this distinctive culture. You jump into the community, blend into the people. And after a year or so, try to avoid clustering with your own kind, right? It's comfortable to, just hang around, go to a bar and speak English and drink. That's very comfortable, but try to blend into the Japanese community, even if you don't speak Japanese. Use your gestures and whatnot. And try to explain what you have in your mind and how you want the things to be done. Angel mentioned about the nail that sticks out, gets hammered. That itself, from my perspective, is imposing the Western value. Here, where people harmonize. So you're not supposed to stick out. But if you want to stick out, you have to make them understand that I don't intend to stick out, but it's important that you understand how I want to stick out. So it's the kind of the blend of the two cultures. And often, I think this is the key word, but you think about the nationalities of the Japan, of a typical, stereotypical Japanese against the Westerners. Japanese are very humble and they're very quiet, not because they don't speak English, but because they're supposed to be quiet in order to harmonize. So they self-sacrifice their own opinion, even if they had one. So it's very different to the self-assertion behaviors that the Westerners may have. But if those two characteristics blend in together and be able to duly discuss the matter and meet consensus, then you can move forward as a team, and that's what diversity is all about. So you really need to kind of listen to what they have to say and, just search what their honne is, as Angel mentioned before. Another point that I think you need to be really careful is that Japanese are very obedient. And that kind of contradicts with the independence that the Westerners may have. So, humble against self-assertion, obedient against independent. If you kind of understand those contradictory characteristics and be able to duly discuss the matter and, clear those impediments as a team, I think you're all set. But it's that kind of understanding of bicultural being that you kind of respect each other. And, you're in a country of courtesy and respect. You need to, ask the seniors that's standing in front of you on a train to sit on behalf of yourself, and you move, you stand up. That's the seniority aspect of this country, and it's really good culture that you don't really see in the Western world. These are the things that needs to be understood. This is pretty evident if you look at the tendencies from the COVID-19 that we're witnessing. It's important to fight the system, and I think we're witnessing the solidarity for the BLM movement in the United States, and I respect that. But not wearing a mask and ignoring social distancing while protesting, that's not the way to handle things in this current situation, And as a result of that, we're still seeing the epidemic wave in the United States climbing, while Japan is being criticized for not being accepting people from the United States. So to me, that is very odd. And, people are not duly discussing the matter as they're supposed to. So this is just my 2 cents, but, I thought I'd help Ayako explain, the bicultural aspect of how things should be done in this country.
Right. No, definitely. Thank you so much, Akio. I think it's really important to, have the complete picture clear. And I really appreciate the fact that, you gave us a very clear explanation regarding Japanese culture. Thank you so much for your 2 cents. I really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are actually finished for today. Before we finish, I will put the link to my LinkedIn account. You guys can connect with me there. If you see right here, this QR code, you can scan it and we can connect on LinkedIn. And if you see this QR code right here, I do business coaching, marketing consulting sessions. The first one is free. So if you guys have any question regarding business, marketing, content creation, or whatever, just book me right here. Ayako, any last message for our audience?
Thank you very much for joining us tonight here. I really enjoyed meeting everybody. And Angel, thank you for the opportunity for me to talk about
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you so much for coming. And the last message, guys, this is volume 3 for Nightcrawlers. Volume 4 will take place next Friday, which will be Friday the 26th. Same place, Zoom, same time at 7 p.m. And on Monday, if you guys follow me on LinkedIn, I'm going to announce who our guest is going to be. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. You're free to go.
Thank you very much.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
See you later.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Too. Bye.
Thank you.
Good morning for me.
Oh.
Have a good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Angel, I'd like to chat with you for a second.
Yes, sir.
Is that, well, you're closing off the meeting. How can we do that? Maybe we can't.